Very good morning to you. This is Kakaki Social. I'm Rena Obozege. Now, Saudi Arabia on Monday cancelled the visa of all 264 Nigerian passengers that were lifted to their country. This was done on their arrival in Jeddah from Kano State in Nigeria, as the country insists they return to Nigeria with the airline that brought them in. It's not clear what led to the visa cancellation, but an immigration source says that nations can cancel visas already issued if they have strong reasons to do that. And some of the reasons could be that the visa applicant used fake document or lied during an interview to obtain the travel permit. Now, of the 264 of them, 87 were passed to remain in Saudi after the intervention of the Nigerian embassy, while the rest, who would be 177, were deported regardless. So this has been the case on social media yesterday, with a lot of reactions coming in, trending up to the last minute, just before I got on set. In reaction to this, First Ladyship says, do you know how embarrassing it is for the Saudis to cancel the visas of a whopping 264 Nigerian Air Peace passengers to Jeddah upon arrival? They did this while Tinubu is still in Saudi Arabia. They couldn't wait for Jagaban to go back before humiliating Nigeria like this. Mr. Incredible says the president should cease his travels for bilateral talks, as each trip brings embarrassment from the nations involved. This has happened 3 times in the last 5 months. First, USA, President Biden declined a meeting after a scheduled official session. 2, UAE, the widely publicized lifting of the visa ban was contradicted by the UAE government. And 3, now Saudi Arabia. For Yomi, he says, I see this as a response for Saudi Arabia to distance itself from the ongoing rumor of agreements to revamp our refinery infrastructures and to provide foreign currencies to stabilize the naira. What this person is saying is that you would remember just about a week ago, the president said he has been able to woo Saudi Arabia, and they were coming in to intervene in our refinery and then to strengthen the CBN so that the naira again will come back to itself. But this is happening already. For Pez, it says they will soon issue one propaganda that will not propagate to explain this away. All right, then let's see what come out of this. It's good that the president is still in that country. Maybe there would be a rethink or something for better, relationship. And now, the Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, and the Trade Union Congress, TUC, have directed all workers in Nigeria to withdraw their services effective today, Tuesday. At a briefing in Abuja with newsmen after the 2 labor centers, NLC and TUC, held separate virtual emergency executive meetings, they said Imo State government and the federal government have remained adamant to their demands over the brutalization of the NLC president, Joe Ajearo.
We said those people that brutalized our president, they must be arrested and they must be persecuted. We also stated as well that the area commander that led the police to carry out the brutalization should be relieved of his duty and he should be persecuted. So effective tomorrow or midnight today, a nationwide strike is going to commence. All affiliates of Trade Union Congress of Nigeria, all affiliates of Nigeria Labour Congress, all state councils of the 2 centers have been mobilized adequately.
Okay, that's the TUC president right there. You heard him say tomorrow. That's because the press conference was yesterday, so tomorrow is now today. Now, this is despite the order that was secured by the federal government that restrains these unions and their affiliates from embarking on the strike. And the presidency has also reacted in a post that they shared on X by Bayo Onanuga, and it says this is just a part of it. It says this decision by the NLC and TUC, other than being an ego-tripping move, is clearly unwarranted. It is an attempt to blackmail the government by the leadership of the NLC. We are still at a loss as to why the NLC and TUC decided to punish a whole country of over 200 million people over a personal matter involving the NLC president, Mr. Ajearo, whose error of judgment led to assault on him in Owerri while he was planning to incite the workers in Imo State into a needless strike. He continued to say that we reiterate that this strike action is illegal, immoral, unjustifiable, and irresponsible. What the strike notice issued Monday night after official hours suggests is it's designed for a sinister and hidden agenda to cause undue hardship and cause civil disturbance in our country. And he says this is unacceptable. Now let's go to comment section. Uja says rigging elections is not in national interest either, and yet we are here. Also in reaction is Mwale, who says, I strictly condemn the assault on the leader of the NLC, but if that didn't happen, would they have gone on with the strike? The answer is no. You and I know the strike has long been overdue. And more reactions coming in from Khalif. It says, if the labor is going on strike because of the assault on its leader and not for the sake of all Nigerians who are suffering as a result of government policy, then I urge the citizens not to support it. That's been selfish. And for another user, it says again that in as much as the NLC TUC leaders are doing this for their own gains, the untold hardship on Nigerians is just too much. The federal government have failed to honor its promises to Nigerians. And to our final story for the day, reactions are trailing the news by the Nigerian Senate that it is considering a proposed bill to allow Nigerians living in other countries to participate in Nigeria's general election. Now, the Senate leader, Okpeyemi Bamidele, who mentioned this in a virtual discussion with Nigerians abroad, said the bill already passed first reading and the second reading is slated for this week, and the 10th Senate would put in more effort to pass it this time, unlike in the 9th Senate in 2022 when it was thrown out. So we're expecting Nigerians abroad to start voting if this actually makes it. But this user is saying that diaspora voting bill is good, but most importantly, we must save our country and democracy by first passing into law the mandatory real-time usage of technology in elections. Secondly, decentralization of INEC and removing INEC from control of federal and state government. More reactions coming in from the mouthpiece who says diaspora voting that same INEC would preside over. It is a waste of time. Until something is done about the current state of INEC, we will keep getting it wrong. For more reactions, Ifeanyi says, make the votes in Nigeria count before extending to the diaspora. This will further increase the cost of elections. It is not needed for now. And also in reaction, Democracy says we should be considering sanitizing our voting system to make our votes count and not this. Okay, finally, Obi says, I got 10 million votes from the Czech Republic loading. Apparently, he thinks that it will be an avenue to further rig elections and, interrupt democracy and integrity of the polls. So let's see what comes out. So that's everything on Kakaki Social this morning. Thank you so much for being a part of it. Our WhatsApp number only is 081154366670. I'll see you again tomorrow. Good morning, Adora Nunkoli.
Good morning, Reina, and to have a great day. We have a whole lot to talk about today, but thank you for all you do in the social media space. And it's good Nigerians are waking up and reacting to everything, so nothing is hidden anymore.
Sure.
All right, do have a great day.
You too.
So we'll be going into our conversation after this break.